massive who shall ever devoted Jordith is.
Welcome in YouTube and Grim community. Welcome in to yet another and probably actually my strongest build that I've ever played so far. This is a Avenger Warder. This is what I've played recently in the Season 2 of the Community Leagues. And it is just absolutely, I don't know, like almost unkillable. You can face tank all content in the main campaign, including Ravager and Kalagadra easily. I did use actually not a single HP pot against Kalagadra on this character. I mean, I obviously did use the standard like defensive ointments, however I did not actually use a single HP pot, and that alone kinda already speaks for itself. Avenger set is a 4-piece physical set which has been actually played a lot, and usually you see this being played a little bit more aggressive than on this build. And also Archon is another way to play Avenger, or also even Warlord, or also some people played Cadence with this set instead of Savagery, and all of those versions probably give you more average DPS than my version. However, yeah, I've never seen a version of this set that was as tanky as the one that I played, and with this I was able to go all the way to SR 93 in hardcore in the Season 2 League before I, well, died to an Arcane. But honestly, if I didn't die to like that Arcane debuffing me, and if I were like maybe a little bit greedier even with like re-rolling the Shadow Ram for like perfect mutators, I would have probably been able to like push this character all the way to like SR 100 even. Maybe I will try that at some point, maybe like next season, like Season 3, if the build doesn't get nerfed until then. I might like try to push for like SR 100 or even higher in this character as well. Okay, Mage Blood. Can't I like just perma to see this guy? Well, not if I'm dying. Yeah, if I'm dying then it doesn't work. I was spamming Classy but it was cooldown. Oh my god. Dude, why was he still not CC? Like, he can't see shit there. Sad. Alright. Alright. I achieved all of that without even like having the very best slot items in my opinion. I had to like do some sacrifices here and there. For example, I was using Sandreaver's Bracers instead of the Crimson Claws. I was using like a well-rolled Kaisenai instead of like, for example, Avenger of Karen, or like Blood Rager 2-piece is something that also people use most of the time. I was using actually Kaisen's at a Warborn visor because I wanted the like permanent uptime to Warcry, just to be like even safer compared to, well, the 2-piece Blood Rager, which is obviously like more damage. But yeah, I mean, I have actually not tried 2-piece Blood Rager yet on this version, so I can't really say if the 2-piece Blood Rager is like worth taking as well, because the Warborn is really good for defense. But yeah, maybe that's also something that I will check out, for example, next season. So since this character actually unfortunately died, even though it's basically unkillable and I don't even know how I could die with us in the first place, I'll just run some gameplay in the background and talk about the skill allocation in the meantime. So for the skills, we are obviously a soldier and a shaman, right? So this makes a warder, and on the soldier side of things we have, well, not too many things, mostly just buffs and passives. So we have Warcry as our, well, like main debuff ability here. 16 points to the base and 18 points to break morale. 18 points break morale to have 41 physical resistance reduction flat, and 16 points Warcry for the 29% permanent damage reduction to enemies, because we have the minus 3 seconds recharge due to the Warborn Visor. Then we have a 1-pointer to Zolan's Technique, because the Avenger set supports Zolan's Technique a lot and gives it like additional 75% weapon damage, and also like all the plus skills that you get here for free makes this a like very good 1-pointer. 1-pointer Fighting Spirit, well, because you always want at least 1 point here. Soft cap Fighting Spirit would be pretty nice as well, but I didn't really find the points for this. 1-point Blitz, and then actually a hard cap to Blindside. What you could also do is you could like soft cap the Blindside instead and like put the remaining points to Fighting Spirit. If you like that more, feel free to do it this way. But Blindside is like permanent DA reduction, like permanent effective OA, whereas Fighting Spirit is not really like permanent. It gets like a better uptime though up to the soft cap, so like putting this up to soft cap would actually be very good. And my build certainly needed like minus the A here or like OA here as well. because like the base OA was only around 2.8k, which is pretty low, and yeah, so it was pretty dependent on like these DA shreds and like OA buffs from Fighting Spirit as well. Then we also have obviously 1 point in Minier's Will to like not die. This did work most of the time. The one time I died, it actually didn't work that well. But yeah, overall you always want at least 1 point here because it's like a very good circuit breaker. 10 points in military conditioning. Pretty much standard nowadays, either 10 points or 11 points here for physique and HP. Very good. 1 point, actually, no, it's 2 points to veterancy for that 14% physique requirement reduction. Also, health regen is pretty nice. This basically makes you have more health regen, and also you have to put less points to physique to wear more armor, which means you can put more points to cunning, which is basically percent physical damage and also offensive ability. And since this build did struggle with OA, at least my version did, yeah, veterancy is pretty nice to like reduce that physique. And honestly, I mean, if you wanted to like play for even more health regen, you could like put even more points here and also like put more points to physique instead of cutting, but health regen was like already good enough in my opinion. Decorated Soldier, soft capped at 8 out of 8, very good for 20% elemental rest, 20% slow rest, and percent physical damage, like all of this is very good. 5 out of 8 Scars of Battle for stun, freeze, and armor absorption. You don't need more than this 1 pointer basically, because you already have full armor absorption with this and like some other pieces, so yeah, not needed to put more than 1 point here. Field Command, 16 out of 12, you want this always at a soft number, I mean at a even number on the overcap, right? So like either 12, 14, 16, 18 and so on for the OA, DA and additional armor. Very good here. 12 out of 12 squad tactics for that like attack speed and all damage. Overcap points aren't that amazing because you get only like 1% attack speed over 3 points instead of every single point, so yeah, 12 points it is. Then actually I went for Menhir's Bulwark instead of Odorran's Rage. This is like one of the reasons why this build is lacking away, but on the other hand, Menhir's Bulwark gives you 19% absorption and a really like a fuck ton of health regen, right? Like this is very insane for tankiness, and one of the reasons why this character ended up being that tanky. And most other Avenger setups I've seen did always go for Odorran's Rage, which is like very nice for softcore, for kill time and so on, but they also like looked at least a lot squishier than if you played around Menhir's Bulwark. I've actually not tried Odorran's Rage on my setup. I didn't have the time to do so, but I think it obviously would be more offensive, but like less defensive, and thus I could have maybe like died earlier. So yeah, I think for the content that I was trying to do, Menhir's Bulwark is like the best thing to do. However, if you decide to like take Odorran's Rage instead of Bulwark, then you could also like switch around maybe like some items, like for example a ring that gives you like bonuses to Menhir's Bulwark. You're not gonna need those anymore then. Second mastery, Shaman. Now here we have the main ability, Savagery. Actually only 16 out of 16 points. Why only this low? Well, I mean, you could put more points here because there is flat lighting and the switch gets converted to physical and like converted, like X to physical converted. Physical damage ignores armor, so that would be pretty nice. However, you only get like another charge at 24 out of 16 points, and I couldn't quite make it that far, at least with the items that I had and also like with the setup that I've played. If you can put Savagery to 24 points, then feel free to do so. That's very good and a lot of damage. However, if you can't make it to 24, I feel like 16 is more often than not just enough anyway. Also, if you compare this to Brute Force, the amount of like flat lighting that you get here per level, like per point after the soft cap, is way higher on Brute Force. So it is like better to overcap Brute Force than Savagery, at least if you can't make it to 24 points. So yeah, Brute Force obviously like flat lighting, which is basically pure physical, lots of HP, percent physical damage as well. 1 point Feral Hunger, just for like some additional sustain. 1 point Upheaval. If you are more away focused, you can certainly like put more points here to have like more damage on this. However, my version was like lacking away kind of already, so yeah, like Upheaval obviously can only hit like proc when you crit, so you need like good away for this to be consistent, and I didn't have that, so only a 1 pointer. Also in Savagery, you always want to obviously pick Might of the Bear if you're two-handed for like more damage and especially 8% physicalness. Very good here. Certainly a must-have. Tenacity of the Boar. I just maxed this out. First of all, because of OA, I needed OA on that build, and second of all, it increases health regeneration by a lot as well, so it's very good for this build as well. Storm Touched, 1 point only for attack speed. Electrical damage becomes internal trauma. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted more attack speed, you can like put more points here. It's not really the best attack speed steroid though in the game, and I didn't really have the points anyway. 12 points when you go totem, really good as well, especially if you have like a insanely high HP pool like this guy. So yeah, 12 points with soft cap for like 5% plus 500 health restored per tick, really nice. Also 1 point blood pack just to have like access to 5% last year on top. Last but not least, we have Mugjogan's Pact, 1 point here, 10 points to Heart of the Wild, and 12 points to Oakskin. I would say that's pretty much standard, and if you have like somehow more skills to use and you want even more health regen, you can put more points in Mugjogan's Pact. This also has flat physical damage, but like flat physical damage, especially on a two-hander, is kinda not that great. I mean, it's okay, but not really like amazing compared to like flat lightning damage, which you convert to physical and then ignores armor. This one does not ignore armor, the values are lower, and like flat damage, like on a two-hander you want flat damage values to be really high, and otherwise they're not really that worth it. If you're playing like dual wield, this is way better compared to two-handed because you will basically like double dip on the flat damage. So yeah, this is like not as good as you might think it is, which is why this is only a 1 pointer. Let's move on over to the devotions. This is where the health gen insanity continues. We have the Harvestman's Scythe, Giant's Blood, Behemoth, and Tree of Life, as well as the Dryad as healing / health gen abilities, which are like just insane. Obviously you want the Kraken for two-hander. Apparently this even gets buffed next patch, so it's gonna be I mean, as long as they don't nerf Avenger, which I can see though that they do nerf Avenger, then this would actually get a buff, this entire build. Ulzad, really good as well, additional armor, physical damage, and so on. Assassin's Blade, a must-have for every single physical and pierce build, so even here as well. Eel, Panther, and Satyrs Guard basically just as fillers for devotion, I mean for affinity. And then also we have 3 points to Obelisk of Menhir, because you can basically use this almost for free if you use Tree of Life anyway. And yeah, this is like very nice for additional armor and DA. Now when it comes to the gear, you obviously need the 4-piece Avenger set. This is a must-have, otherwise you can't play this build. Then for pants I'm using Choices of Bob Ross, like the Bob Ross pants, right? Really good as well, Physicalness, Chaos Rest, insane amounts of OA, even has health regen and Battle Cry proc, so fits this build perfectly. For the medal I'm using the Sigil of the Bear King. You can certainly use like another medal, but I mean Sigil of the Bear King has that sweet % attack speed as well, so it's pretty good. For boots I'm using Golemborn Greaves. This is another like +2 Minions Bulwark item that you could like switch out to something else if you're using Odorun's Rage instead, right? But yeah, for hardcore, for pushing, for Menhir's Bulwark, this is just insane. More armor the proc, physical resistance, +2 Menhir's Bulwark, giving you more absorption, HP. Just overall, insane pair of boots for like harder content. For the gloves, I'm using Sand Reaver's Bracers. I was talking about these earlier already, right? If you have Crimson Claws, then Crimson Claws are probably the better fit here. However, Sand Reaver Bracers aren't really like bad either. They have like +2 to Wendigo Totem and Vitality and Chaos Rest, which was like actually perfect for this build if you look at my resistances. And it still has attack speed, so like it's not bad at all. For the ring, I'm using 1 Mythical Ring of the Black Matriarch for attack speed, the Fizz resistance reduction proc, and yeah, and some cunning and so on. I mean, very decent overall. And then I'm also actually using 1 Mythical Menhirion, which is like another +2 Menhir's Bulwark item, so if you're not running Menhir's Bulwark, I would suggest you to not play this ring either. For the helmet, Mythical Warburn Visor, because yeah, I wanted the CDR to Warcry and +1 Soldier, and it has attack speed as well, so like it's really good overall. And I was using a Stalwart of the Cabal, Kaisan's Eldritch Eye. I know this might not look that easy to get. I got it like on the only Kaiser kill that I did in this league, in the Season 2 league. So I guess I got kinda lucky there. You can certainly use many other different amulets here. For example, Avenger of Karen is very defensive as well. Blood Rager Gem is pretty offensive. And you can use like basically any other Kaisan's Eye that has like fitting affixes for your build as well. One last thing that I want to talk about as well is the relic. I actually played with the Juggernaut relic. Why did I play with Juggernaut relic? Well, because it has the Unstoppable proc, which has more health regen. And this is like the best kind of like health gen relic that I could find for this build. Also it has percent away, again very important for this build because I had lower OA. So yeah, this might seem like a weird choice, but if you like think about it and the health gen, it actually made perfect sense for this build. So why is this build so strong? I mean, you have like 14 to 30k weapon damage, which is a lot worse than some other variants of this build that I've seen. 169 attack speed, not really like amazing either. 33% Physrus, not really that amazing either. 3.7k armor up to like 4.6. I mean, that's good, but like you have seen retaliation builds have way more than that. Lifesteal 9%, not really like amazing either. But then we have the health gen, right? So the health gen is 2.5, 2.6k by default. And if you take a look at the procs that are here in Grim Tools, the Unstoppable proc from the Juggernaut relic has a higher duration than recharge, so this is basically permanent. The Nature's Avenger proc, 15-second duration, 12-second recharge, so basically permanent as well. And it has 22 Physrus, so actually like permanent Physrus is not 33 but like 55%. Now what are the other procs that we have here? Menhir's Will, that's obviously only when you go low. Healing Rain, not quite permanent but very good uptime as well. Giant's Blood as well, like decent uptime. Ulzat's Decree has no health gen. Golemborn has no health gen, Battlecry has no health gen, Fighting Spirit has no health gen. So the health gen ones are that are permanent are Nature's Avenger and Unstoppable. And then we have Healing Rain and Giant's Blood for like pretty good uptime. And Giant's Blessing is only armor actually. And Menhir's Will is, well, you shouldn't really count this in. So on average, right, if you like take out Menhir's Will and we take out these devotions here for now, right? This is 8-second duration, 12 seconds recharge. Then actually leave this one in and just take out the Giant's Blood, and we have probably like a pretty good value for like average health gen that you have like permanently. So average permanent health gen is like 7.6k, which is like 33% of my health. So like I basically heal to full every 3 seconds permanently without any procs on average, basically, right? And if we put like the Giant's Blood proc there on top, we run in like 11.5k health gen, and this is basically what you have, right? Like around 7k health gen, and up to like 11.5 with Giant's Blood on top. Well, if you drop low and you activate this, I mean, you would have even more, but honestly, this is like, I would never like count this in. Like, it's not reliable at all. And this, on top of all the other tankiness that the build already has, is why this is so insane. And why you can basically fall asleep while playing this build. Alright, so last but not least, I'm also going to show you how to handle your attributes here, and how to also make these devotions yourself. I know lots of people always ask me, yo, how do you actually get to those devotions, because sometimes devotions can be a little bit complicated to get to. Alright, let's start out with the attributes. So in my case, I basically put as many points into Cunning as I could, and only used Physique and Spirit to meet like the requirements for my gear. Also, if you have Physique and Spirit on the gear that requires the Spirit, let's say for example you have 387 required Spirit on the Amulet, then like minus Spirit requirement reduction from the Dryad devotion, you're gonna still need like around 350, 360 probably. Yeah, you need like 360 for this ring, and around like 350 for this ring, and also the Seal of Annihilation gives you 20 Spirit, so you're gonna have like 346-ish Spirit without the Seal of Annihilation, and thus you could not equip this amulet without like putting more points of Spirit. Well, how do you fix that? Well, you just use a, I don't know, like any ring that you have lying around that either has already like Spirit on its own, like you have, I don't know, like some copper ring, and then you have something that has either like percent Spirit, or even better would be something that has like flat Spirit, like for example of the Eagle, of the Boar, like these kind of yellow like magic affixes have Physique and Spirit, for example. Like of the Boar would be perfect, just to have like one copper band of the Boar in your inventory maybe, and then you could just like equip that real quick, and then equip the amulet, and then go back to the other ring that you had earlier, right? Or you could also, if you don't have exactly this ring, you could also like boost the Physique and Cunning and Spirit of that ring with like another polished emerald on top, and that could be already enough. So that's like how you can cheese like spirit and physique requirements sometimes. And thus I only needed 19 physique points and 7 points on spirit, and the rest could be done, like could be put into cunning instead. Also for physique requirement reduction, make sure to have actually 6 points at the veterancy, otherwise you will need to put more physique than I did. Now when it comes to putting devotions together yourself, make sure to always start out with the points at the crossroads and like see which tier 1 devotions you can take with those, and then see which tier 2 devotions you can take. And don't, like when you have a full setup with like 55 devotion points, don't try to like take these tier 3s before you haven't taken everything else, because tier 3 don't give you any like affinity. They only need affinity, they don't give you any affinity. So what we do here first is we start with the yellow and the blue devotion crossroads, because we have those in my endgame variant as well. And then we use Assassin's Blade and Dried. Assassin's Blade will also like unlock all the purple, and the Dried and Eel, Dried and the Sailor's Guide are also tier 1 devotions that we need anyway. Now we also can take the Eel and the Panther, and then we can see that we also can take some tier 2 devotions like Harvestman's Scythe already. Now we're gonna need more purple for Uzzard, and you can see this needs 8, but also gives you 2, and you can see that in my endgame version I don't have more than 8 here. Now we also want Behemoth. You can also see that Behemoth needs 3 red and 4 green, so we don't have those yet. And the only other devotion that gives us blue here and red is the Kraken. And we still can't take the Kraken because we also need green. So like the Kraken and the Giant depend on each other. So what you need here is a Toad for purple and green. So what you actually should do instead of taking Hammer, right, to unlock Uzzard, you should not take Hammer. You should actually take Toad. Because if you take Toad, then you only need 4 crosses on, like in total, to retake later. And if you took Hammer, then you would need like another green devotion on top, like Scholar's Light or Hawk. So you don't want to do that. So you just take Toad to combine the two, right? You take Toad before Uzzard. After Toad, you take Uzzard. And then with Uzzard and Toad, you can take the Kraken. And then with the Kraken and Toad and Uzzard and a node over here in the crossroads, you can take the Behemoth. And once you have the Behemoth, you can then like start retaking nodes from the crossroads here and from the Toad. So these are the 5 crosses that you need to retake these points. And now we have the remaining like 9 points, which we can put into Tree of Life. And the 3 nodes into Obelisk. And there we go. Also don't forget to check out the additional gameplay video for this character, where I put together the new Superbosses from the League exclusive Superbosses, Balog, Galacross and Rodoratus, and also the like full kills on Ravager and Kalagadra in the League, and also a Shattered Realm Shard 92 boss room clear is in there as well. So yeah, would be great if you check that out if you want to see additional like gameplay and content for this character. So thank you so much everybody for watching, and I hope you're gonna enjoy this beast of a build. Thank you so much everybody for all the support on Patreon as well as on Twitch. Thank you so much for all the subs. And also since today you can actually become a YouTube member as well. You can sign up for a YouTube membership on my channel here as well. So if you would do that, I would very much appreciate it as well. And it basically supports me as well as a creator, because currently on YouTube I only make money with ads, and honestly the ad money is rather insignificant. So any additional help, like any additional revenue that I can make from, for example, you guys' YouTube memberships or via Patreon or Twitch Primes and so on, like everything helps to keep this channel up and growing, and to, well, enable me to put out more Grim Dawn content in the future, or also like maybe some other content for other ARPGs or other games in general. Also, like, let me know what kind of games you would like me to play as well in the future, because honestly Grim Dawn is slowly but surely coming to a point where, yeah, development has slowed down significantly, and there is not really that much new content planned in the future. Like we've been like waiting for a hotfix for 3 months now almost, and yeah, like hotfixes aren't repatches, so there's not really like any new content, only like mostly some fixes and like some balance changes, and that's it. And games like Power of Exile or Last Epoch are ever evolving, so I might want to look more into those games, at least until Grim Dawn has like another season, or Grim Dawn 2 gets developed at some point. Then I will obviously go back to Grim Dawn and do more Grim Dawn content. I mean, this is still by far my favorite RPG, ever. But yeah, there's sort of like a smaller void growing here when it comes to content for Grim Dawn. So let me know what you guys want to see on this channel. Let me know what you guys would like me to play as well, and what you guys would like me to talk about and do guides about. Maybe I should like check out the Grim Dawn mods some more, like Reign of Terror and so on. I still haven't done that, so we could do that, for example, as well. Anyways, thank you so much everybody for watching, and I'll catch you around on the next one.